Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have some really exciting news. We have two new units that are being brought to Summoner's War. We have a 5-star, which on the left here, I should have looked over their names, but we have a 5-star and a 4-star that are being added. And if I scroll up a bit, the one on the left is going to be called Indra, and the one on the right is Asura. And these are going to be two new units. We have previews of their skills that we're going to be looking over. What's really exciting, of course, is the 4-star is a water one. They have revealed the water preview. So we're really going to be focusing on this one today and talking about what its skills can potentially mean. Some of it's going to be really dependent on ratios and all that, but the passive, I think, is going to be the biggest interpretation. We will also be taking a look at the wind one. They've shown the wind version here, and I really just want to theorize about what the water version will be based off of this. So going into the wind unit here, they have their first skill, which most likely all of them are going to have. I think there's only been some situations where units have different or like altered first skills, like maybe the paladins. So that's all stuff we'll have to wait and see. So the first skill is called Thunder Shot. It attacks the enemy and decreases its attack bar by 30% with a 50% chance. It says when used during the Thunderer state, you attack additionally with lower damage to enemies of the same attribute of the target. This is really interesting. This is going to mean that when you attack an element, I assume this is going to be working the way the Wind Pioneer works. Kind of how you do big damage to one unit and then you do splash damage to the rest. Except in this case, it's going to be all elements, or only the same element, which is going to be pretty bad for me in particular, because I go all water units. They attack my unit and then it's going to be an AoE across my whole team. So this unit might be a really big counter to me, and we're going to have to see how crazy that first skill is going to be. But I do wonder how it's going to work for the rest. Are they all going to have that aspect, or is this thunder state unique to the wind one? And then its second skill, it attacks all enemies and decreases their attack power for 2 turns with a 70% chance. When used during the thunderer state, it leaves a branding effect for 2 turns with a 40% chance. So AoE damage for attack break and branding. So it's possible this will be on the water one, maybe. Would I be excited if it was? I don't know. It could be interesting for like a cleave setup potentially with branding, but I don't know if it's going to be something I'm like really hoping that the water version has. And then this one has a passive which deals additional damage that's proportionate to your attack speed when you attack the enemy. While under the Thunderer state, decreases your skill cooldown by 1 turn if the damage inflicted against the enemy is 30% or above the target's max HP. So this unit is going to be able to cycle their cooldowns a lot. As long as they're doing big damage, they should be able to cycle through their cooldowns. And lastly, this Thunderer state we keep talking about. Fall under the Thunderer state that enhances your skills for 3 turns and instantly gain another turn. In addition, your attack speed increases by 30% up to 150% total whenever you use the Wind Thunder, which is this last skill here. Once the Thunderer state ends, you become stunned for 1 turn. I'm assuming this is going to be a new sort of like buff state that is being added to the game, probably unique to them, kind of like how Berserk state is for the Barbarian Kings. Now, very important thing to note, you get stunned at the end of your Thunderer state. What I'm interested to know, because you keep reducing your cooldown, and you're meant to stack up your attack speed like this, I guess maybe similar to how Oliver worked, where he kept increasing his attack power, but in this case it's attack speed, every time he uses a certain skill. So this unit's going to be pretty fast. Their passive makes them do damage proportionate to their attack speed. So that's going to be pretty gross. They'll be doing a lot of damage later on. Going over this stunned for 1 turn, I'm wondering what happens if you re-up the state before it goes on cooldown, because they can keep lowering their cooldowns. Does this mean they won't get stunned? Is it only after it ends they'll get stunned? I'd be curious to know. And this specifies the Wind Thunderer as a state. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a different element Thunderer state for all of them. They might not all be the same. Like this one increases your attack speed. It's possible the other ones might increase something else. I'm assuming the stun is going to be the same for all of them. So I wonder if they have a way around that, or if that's just going to be a big counter. And then now we have the Water 4-star, which is going to be the biggest one I want to talk about. They have 4 arms, which is really cool, but this is going to be interesting. They attack a lot. Their first skill attacks the enemy 3 times and leaves a branding effect with a 15% chance each. In addition, you attack the enemy 1 more time if your attack power is higher than the enemy target. So this attack can potentially hit up to 4 times on a first skill. I want to say they are one of the very few units that can hit that many times on a first skill. So additional damage artifacts are probably going to be really gross on these units, especially because of their second skill here, which attacks the enemy 3 times and increases your attack bar by 15% each if the attack lands as a critical hit. The number of attacks increases up to 6 times according to your attack power. So already this unit we can see hits many times. That's pretty much the thing. They have 4 arms, they punch a lot. They increase their attack bar if they land crits. So they're going to have some good cycling depending on the cooldown of these skills. I'm assuming because it's a second skill, it's probably going to be a 4-turn cooldown reduced to 3 by skill ups. If this is a 2-turn cooldown, it's going to be really insane, actually. Like, I think this will be a really gross unit if it's a 2-turn cooldown. So I'm going to expect once they're max skilled, it's going to be 3 turns. And now it says that the number of attacks increases up to 6 times according to your attack power. So I believe that's going to mean 6 times total, not that you can reach an extra 9 attacks total. I'm pretty sure this is just going to be 6, but we'll see. We'll see how the wording goes. But that's going to be pretty wild, especially because of their passive here, which is another thing that we got to think about wording for. So this is called constant training, which gradually increases your attack power whenever you attack the enemy. This has potential to be really cool. What we do not know yet is if there is a cap on this. It says gradually increases the attack power, but this, I wonder if it works like, say, the Dark Frankenstein. The Dark Frankenstein is a unit that however many times you attack the Dark Frankenstein, on its next turn, it does damage proportionate to that. If this works similar to Dark Frankenstein, it probably means that from, say, the 1st to the 6th hit on the 2nd skill, it'll do increased damage and then probably reset on its next turn, and then it's back to 1, going up to more damage. Now, best case scenario, this unit has like infinite stacking attack power, and the more times it attacks that match, the more of a threat it's going to be later on, which is going to be really gross in matches that go on pretty long. This unit might be a very much one of the long con conditions, like kind of what Suki should be, the water Onimusha, if Suki did damage. I mean, he does damage, but you know. So I'm very interested to see how many stacks we can get on this, if there is a cap on it, because if there's not, this is going to be pretty crazy. I also want to spitball a couple ideas I have already for this water unit in particular. Seeing how they have so many multi-hits, additional damage artifacts are going to be amazing on this unit. They're going to attack so many times constantly every turn. You're going to get a lot of value because additional damage artifacts apply to every individual hit. So multi-hitters are really good with them. Now, as for the actual set that we want to have on this unit, I think that's going to depend a lot on how the passive works. I could see Vampire being interesting. They already have some cycling, so depending on what their cooldowns are, it could be pretty nice. Violent runes are always great on pretty much everything. So I don't think you can go wrong with violent runes. So, you know, maybe Violent Will could be something. You could also go Revenge. You could go Revenge set because, again, this unit has 4 attacks on their first skill potentially. So that's a lot for a first skill Revenge. I don't know if going triple Revenge sets is going to be worthwhile on this unit or not. We'll have to see. One idea I do really want to try pairing him with is going to be the Water Assassin's Creed collab unit 5-star, the one that you can apply with their second skill a threat state and counterattack buff for 2 turns on a unit. Because I can already imagine putting a counterattack on this unit and then he will continue to counterattack. I'm also really interested to see if his passive stacks up on revenge attacks. If there is no limit on the amount of times he can stack up, definitely revenge runes are going to be pretty useful for him if he can continue to counter stack on revenge. And I think there's going to be a couple builds we can try him out with. So I don't know if this is going to be a unit I really want for either certain siege teams that don't have wind units or maybe one wind unit, or if this is something I'm going to want a lot in like dungeons, because I could see that being pretty useful potentially in dungeons. If that's the case, you know, Rage Blade is going to work with this unit, I'm sure. Maybe we built him full DPS. I really do want to see what his ratios are going to be. Super depending on what their base stats are. We might be able to make like a tanky hybrid, kind of like the way I do like I rune up the Water Onimusha, make him very tanky and just wait for the long con for its attack power to kick in, and then it does a lot of damage over time. Or if we just want to go full squishy DPS and just try to continue to burst stuff repeatedly. We'll have to find out. Regardless, I super want to test this unit. I do have scrolls saved up since the last summon session, assuming they're going to be added shortly, probably along with the next major update, which I will be getting some videos out for that, hopefully. They're going to be changing a very good amount of stuff, so I want to revisit dungeons and see if I can maybe speed up some teams, etc. A lot of stuff we're going to be wanting to farm now with the changes of like runes and grind placements and all of that, so we can expect me to make another summon video trying to get this unit. If I don't get at least the water one, the water 4-star, I'm gonna be sad. So definitely wish me luck, guys. I hope I can get it. I really do. And we'll try to make a video on it. I really want to see how this is gonna perform. Whether or not it's good or bad, I will bite the bullet and we will figure it out together. Definitely let me know what you think about these units in the comments down below. I'm really interested to hear your feedback on how crazy they're gonna be. I'm really worried about the wind one. I think it's definitely gonna be difficult for me to deal with. Potentially the other ones too, if it's just element, they don't even have to be a wind unit on water. It could be any element. So these 5-stars are going to be really interesting here, specifically to counter me. And also feel free to theory craft ideas. What do you think these other skill sets are going to be? I'm assuming the 4-star ones are going to be about hitting a lot. They'll all have the same first skill, so I'm assuming they're all just going to be punching a lot of times. Hopefully the water one is going to be a good unit. All right, I think I am going to end it here. I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you all in the next video. All right, bye-bye, everybody.